Hello YouTubers, my name is X Factor. Welcome back to some Tanker Tuesday for Battlefield 4. We're back on Goal Mode Railway. Rush defense, working both flanks. Remember, the attackers have 2 tanks, I have 1 tank. And you're asking yourself, why is it this conquest? Where's the LAV attack boat? I had to post this round. There are moments in this round where your mouth is going to drop and hit the floor. That is how target rich the environment is in multiple occasions. So the best thing to do here is to try to keep their tanks at bay, not overcommit, not overextend your infantry, which are the ones that really help protect you. So here you see me using the zoom optics and the HMG, and these are my new HUD settings, my new HUD customization. For those of you who've not seen the guide on how I set up my HUD with hit marker colors, kill colors, all the other options, I'll link that down below because it really can be helpful. Goal Mode Railway used to be one of the maps that was problematic with the stock tank HUD. You would lose it in some of the yellowish greenish grass before, and it was really tough to see where that dot for the LMG or HMG was at when using the zoom optics, and that's the name of the game. Trying to stay alive when you're solo tanking and their tank just kind of hits you. And look at here, a little bush Wookie. Maybe he had C4, maybe he was trying to punk me out of my tank, but regardless, I have to think about this. Where did he come from? Does he have a beacon? Did he parachute in? And that's kind of what I'm listening for right now as I'm trying to make some cross shots with the AP shell, which is great for anti-infantry, and I actually utilize it for that several different ways. A lot of people tend to hug the cover. Talk about this all the time. If you're in a building and you know there's a tank or RPG straw or smaller round, don't stand against that wall. More than likely, you're going to get shot through that wall, and it's going to do a ton of damage if you're a foot or 2 away. Get 3 or 4 feet back. That way, if you eat that shell, you might take no damage. You might take a little bit, and you can go on your way. The other thing goes for rocks. These rocks, you can simply get C4'd over, RPG'd, smalled into, and the splash is absolutely ridiculous as well. So that's something that you have to be careful about. Get too close, you're simply gonna get burnt. So here you see me kind of swooping around on a flank, trying to take care of the moving vehicles, because that could have some possibly stolen or stolen Jeep stuff. That's the last thing I want, is to overextend myself, get disabled by a UCAV, a piece of C4, an RPG well placed, and that's all she would write. So here you see me trying to prioritize targets, keeping my head on a swivel, trying to figure out where the anti-vehicle weaponry is coming from. So we lost that set of MCOMs. I wasn't able to push all the way through. I've now got a gunner who's actually talking to me through VoIP, paying attention. And this is one of the clumps of bad guys as I miss the primary shell. I'm trying not to overheat my HMG, and I'm trying to find the proper lead with the AP shell, because that is just a ton of bad guys. And even though we're not killing all of them, it's making them panic. It's like rats off a sinking ship, which is pretty hilarious. So here's the other thought process that I have right now. Do I want to shoot out all my AP shell? If a tank sneaks up to me, I'm dead, because I'm just not going to have the primary shell it's going to take. So we're down to 1, and might as well work the lead on the HMG again. So what happens when a tank pushes like this? People go into panic mode, and then of course you start seeing the engineers start coming towards you, and that's great as my last shell gets a hold of that. Double reps right here, hopefully, because we got hit by UCAV, hit by a tank shell, and avoided some Jeep stuff. Not looking good, right? Well, if I told you, we'll live to fight another day. One thing that helps when I'm working with a gunner in VoIP is I'll tell him when to get out, because usually I've got a plan in my head. Don't panic, don't get out, don't start repping immediately when we first start taking damage. There might be a piece of cover to break the lock, or there might be a bend that we can corner that we don't have to worry about the tank or the locks anymore. Another thing, if you're the secondary gunner and you're doing a good job of repping, one thing you could do to help out the tank driver is shoot your gun once or twice as soon as you get in. It's really hard for the tanker to pay attention to the big map, the mini map, all the threats coming in, and have to worry about if you got in or not. So a lot of times you don't even have to rep to 100 as we're getting locked by Javs, trying to APS that out and just get out of dodge. The locks on this side are just too strong. So what do you do when that happens? You can simply rotate around to the other side, because obviously there's a couple infantry that have a hard-on for you, and they're chasing you down at this point. That means all those guys with the javelins, UCAVs, RPG straws, smalls, the armor, all pushed to one side. So why not dodge the 3D spot if you're playing normal, which takes 6 to 7 seconds, and then just push through to another side and take a peek. Try to catch the infantry off guard. The best thing you could do in infantry or armor is try to push flanks constantly, because here you see another formation, these guys trying to move around on another side. One quick push with a couple infantry or a piece of armor could quickly wipe out a position. Your team retakes it. The question is, do you want to stick in there for 1 or 2 tank shots or some anti-armor shots, or do you want to pop, hit it and quit it and basically get out? So that's a question you have to answer yourself. And remember, you're only as strong as the infantry around you, which we really don't have a lot of. That's the one thing that happens when playing Russia or Conquest, as we get touched up by another UCAV. That means a disable for about 7 or 8 seconds. Is, do you really want to be stuck in the middle when the other team could absolutely flank you? Do the flanking. Don't get flanked is basically what I'm saying. So if you're just running from your spawn straight to the MCOM as an attacker or defender, and you're doing that 99% of the time, you're really not helping yourself or your team. It's the guys who are working the flanks, the outside of the map, which are going to get the most benefit for not just themselves, but their team. So there's a tank there, there's some smoke, I missed my shot, I popped my APS to cover my escape. The last thing I want to do is get caught out in the open. We have no infantry anywhere near me. It's just myself and Mezzo in the gunner seat. So I'm actually going to go back to the middle, wait for my APS to pop back up, and push again. Remember, they have 2 tanks. That's something that can happen, is I can get bull rushed by both those tanks. One is bad enough in coordination with RPGs or UCAV right there, so that's something you have to keep in mind. If those are being flung at you, you really can't go outside of cover all too much, because if you're going to get immobilized for 7 or 8 seconds and there's a tank there, you are in a lot of trouble as he picks on me again. So we're going to back up, steal a double rep, back up, steal a double rep, rinse, and repeat. Double reps are extremely helpful as long as you're away from enemy infantry and have just a little bit of cover. It's amazing how quickly you can get back on your feet and maybe even save, not using your APS or smoke or whatever defensive mechanism you have going. And I'm hitting some bumps here from C4, tank shells, anything else that's exploded there. It's really messing with my shot. So why not pull up just a little bit and make sure that my front is facing, just in case. Protect your repair person always. Don't just let them get out in front. If they get out in front, you're the one that's got to pull forward to protect them, as I eat, more than likely, some tank shells, UCAVs, and everything else flying at me. And I simply bit off more than I could chew because both tanks are picking at me. So anything else hits me right now, we're potentially dead. And there you see the power of the double reps. And trying not to stay out too long. Don't have to get to 100. You can get to 90 and go about your way. But right now, we've got the pressure of a tank pushing us, popping smoke. Really hard to see, and he missed a shot, but then my gunner got shot. Should have stayed in. Tried to survive this. We would have been all right, but they're spawning NGs out the tank. That's the 2nd or 3rd NG that's gotten out. That's all she wrote right there. Might as well go down with the ship because they've got multiple engineers. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this round of some Gold Mode Railway rush defense with the tank. Massive clumps of bad guys, and why not wrap it up with possibly the best LMG in the game, the bipoded QBB. I'm just kidding. As always, YouTubers, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys soon.